How did I become a Jesus girl? That's a really good question. Because for such a long time, I was a party girl. I would look forward to the weekend. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. That would be the highlight of my week because I just wanted to go out and party. I wanted to go out and dance. I wanted to go out and drink. I wanted to just have fun, you know. I would dress very skimpy and, what they call like skimpily clad, because I wanted to see how much attention I could get. And now I realized that that was just coming from a place of brokenness. I was really broken, grew up feeling very rejected, especially, from my dad, not having that father-daughter relationship, not knowing what it was to be a daddy's girl, not being affirmed, having other family members, make me feel like I wasn't valid, I was useless. And so when I was old enough, that is what gave me this sense of belonging and like, oh, I had control in this area of my life. And so for a long time, I was a party girl and, continued that way for a long time. And then everything in my life just started to spiral out of control. I was always depressed, and no matter how much I would thrive in like business and corporate, I still felt this brokenness in my heart because truly all I really wanted was to be loved. And I remember it was on a Friday night, good old Friday night, and I remember just crying out to God. I was over it. I didn't want to live anymore. And I literally said, Lord, if you're real, manifest yourself to me and I will serve you for the rest of my life, because I didn't want to live anymore. And the presence of God came into my bedroom, and the next thing I knew, I was on my face before the Lord. I was on my knees and I was just weeping uncontrollably. And I knew that a holy presence, a presence that I've never felt before in my life, but it was so powerful, came into my room, and I was never the same again. And I remember just running off to this church that I was visiting on and off, and I was just like, I need to get baptized. I need to get baptized. No, I know you have a baptism class and a new believers class and all of that stuff, but I can't wait for that. You need to get me on to the roster for baptism, which was coming up next week. And I got baptized. But that's the thing about believing that all you need to do is say a prayer and you're saved, because 7 years after that, I was still struggling. I knew that I encountered God in my bedroom and I knew that I loved him, but I was still struggling, still broken, still having these ungodly relationships, and I called myself a Christian. And I remember in 2018, I was yet in another ungodly relationship, and the Lord said, leave this now. And I knew that the power and the authority that I heard in his voice, if I didn't do this time, that something bad was just going to happen, like it wasn't going to end well. And I remember that was when I really started walking out this journey of who is God, who is Jesus, what's this relationship all about. And I just gave it my all. I've never looked back since then. And it was hard, but I started pressing in to the Lord. I started opening up my heart to him. I started to allow him to start looking at all of these broken places in me that felt it needed to be filled with alcohol, with men, with partying, with the skimpy dressing. I really just allowed myself to just be vulnerable with the Lord. And that's when the Lord started to heal my heart. And I got into the Word, because it's a word that transforms you. And so I started to walk out this relationship with the Lord. So being saved is not about a prayer, people. It's about developing a relationship with God. You have to run after God. You have to chase after God. You have to get into the Word, because it's a word that starts to wash your soul. It's a word that starts to clean your soul. It's a word that heals you. And I thank God that where I am now in my journey, the Lord has led me to an apostle who is able to break open the mysteries and the secrets of the Word, that has really brought healing and transformation to my soul and to my life. And the Lord said to me, you are my Jesus girl. And I'm just so in love with him every day. I just want to get closer to him. You know, he's just everything to me, and he has truly made me feel healed and whole and complete. And I know that it's a process and I'm continuing to walk through it, but I thank God that it's about learning about him, and I have a spiritual father who is teaching me how to know more about this man Jesus that I love so much. And that's how I became a Jesus girl. And I just want to encourage those of you. I did a video last week with a woman by the name of Lexi, who calls herself a Christian, who said that she wanted the mind of Christ and the body of a whore. And I can tell you that there's no way that you can be a Jesus girl or pursuing Christ and want his mind but desiring the body of a whore. Because as somebody who used to be a party girl, as somebody who used to dress skimpily and want to attract men to their bodies, I can tell you that's an unregenerated soul that's speaking, because the word of God regenerates your soul. You start not having a desire for those things. That's not the character and nature of Jesus Christ. The two don't go together. And so I just want to encourage you that in this walk with Christ, it's about transformation. That's what he wants. That's what he desires. And people who look at me now, they can see the transformation. I don't look the way that I used to look. I don't speak the way I used to speak. I don't dress the way that I used to dress. My desires are different. My ambitions are different, because it's all about Jesus. It's all about God the Father and him being glorified. So that's how I became a Jesus girl. I'd love to hear your stories. If you want to share your stories about how you became a Jesus girl, send me an email, send me a DM. I'll link that below, because I'd love to hear your story. God bless you, and I love you guys so much.